Hello everyone. Today I'm going to prepare a full vegetarian meal. In the month of May, Buddhists around the world observe a very important religious period, especially on the full moon day known as Vesak. On this special day, many people choose to follow a vegetarian diet as part of their religious practice. On the Vesak day, it's also a beautiful tradition to offer free meal and drinks to the people and travelers on the street. These offerings are known as dansal. So today I am going to prepare traditional dansal style vegetarian menu to show you what we eat on this special day. For this meal I have made ghee rice, dal curry, mango and pineapple curry, seeni sambal with onions, papadam and crispy fried dried chilies. Let's get started and see how it makes this delicious meal. I'll be preparing a few different dishes today. So I'll show you each one step by step. This way you can get a clear idea of how everything comes together. Let's start with the ghee rice. Today I'm not using basmati rice. Instead, I am using Sri Lankan variety called samba rice, and this dish is known as kiri samba. As you can see, the grains are very small. It is very nice rice, light, fluffy, not sticky at all. You can find samba rice in Sri Lankan grocery stores anywhere in the world. I have already washed the rice well and drained it using a strainer because we are going to lightly fry it in the ghee before cooking. Now let me show you the ingredients I am using. I have chopped one big onion, fresh curry leaves, cinnamon, cardamom and cloves. These spices are a must for the flavor. I also have some salt, 3 tablespoons of ghee, a teaspoon of turmeric, and 1 cup of thick coconut milk. This is going to turn into a very rich, fragrant, and delicious rice. You definitely have to try this. Today I am using a rice cooker for this recipe. You may not clearly see the frying step inside the rice cooker, but that's completely fine. You can also do this step separately in a pan before transferring into the rice cooker. So first I am adding my ghee into the pan. Then I am adding pandan leaf. This one was in the freezer, so the color has slightly changed, and some fresh curry leaves. Next, I am adding sliced onion and mixing everything well. Now, I am adding my aromatic spices cinnamon, cloves, and cardamom. Fry everything together until the beautiful aroma is released. At this stage, you can also add some black peppercorns or cumin seeds if you like. It gives a extra depth and of flavor. This stage you can already smell this. My whole kitchen smells amazing right now. Now I am going to add the rice. As you can see, all the water has been drained properly and the rice is nice and dry. Next, I am going to gently fry the rice in the ghee. This step is very important because it helps to give that rice flavor and keeps the rice grains separate. Now I am adding the salt, about 1.5 teaspoons. Make sure to fry the rice lightly in the ghee. This is the secret to getting a really delicious and fragrant ghee rice. Also, when you buying ghee, always choose a good quality brand. Check the label, the origin, and the expire date. There are some low quality and fake ghee products in the market, and they are not good for your health. So, it always better to spend a little extra and use high quality ghee for the best flavor and better health. Now my rice is ready. Go into the rice cooker now. Next, I am adding the turmeric and give a good mix so the color spreads evenly. Now I am going to transfer this into the rice cooker. When adding water, don't use the full amount you normally would because later we are going to add 1 cup of fresh coconut milk. So just reduce the water slightly to balance it out. At the end, we will add the coconut milk to give a rice a rich, creamy flavor. Now that the rice cooker is doing its job, we can start preparing the rest of the meal. Now I am going to prepare the sini sambal. Sini sambal is popular Sri Lankan dish made mainly with onions. It's not just fried onion, it has a rich, sweet and slightly tangy flavor. In my pan, I have added about 1.5 tablespoon of oil. I have sliced around 5 onions and I also have some tamarind ready. I have soaked tamarind in water and now I am going to squeeze it to extract the juice. We will use this later, but it's important to prepare it now. Next, I am adding the sliced onion into the hot oil. Sini sambal is very common dish in dansal meal, especially during the Vesak, as it's completely vegetarian. It pairs really well with ghee rice and dal curry, which is why I choose to include it in today's menu. For this, I am using about 6 cardamom pods, 5 cloves, and a small piece of cinnamon. I have lightly crushed them and now I am adding them in. Now I am adding some salt and chili powder according to your spice preference. Since this is a vegetarian meal, we like to keep a little bit spicy. Now I am adding curry leaves and some green chilies. Mix everything well and let it cook. I have added half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. This will give the dish a rich, beautiful, and golden color. As it cooks, you will notice the onion reduce its volume. That's completely normal. Now I am adding about 2 teaspoons of sugar, followed by a tamarind juice we prepared earlier. Give everything a good mix and let it cook until the onion are soft and well caramelized. Keep the heat on low to medium. If the heat is too high, it can burn. We want the onions to cook slowly and develop a rich, deep flavor. I can see it needs a little more oil. So I am adding about 1 extra teaspoon of oil. This will help the onions cook properly and prevent them from sticking. Now I am going to cover it with the lid and let it cook gently. Make sure to stir it from time to time, then cover it again and let it cook slowly. Now it's ready. All the spices are well combined and the onions are perfectly cooked and smell amazing. So now let's move on to the next dish. My next dish is mango curry. In Australia, it's not the season for mango and I couldn't find any. I did find ripe mangoes, but for this recipe, we really need raw mango. So I wasn't sure if that worked well. So instead of, I chose to use pineapple and it works beautifully. I have chopped one onion, curry leaves and pandan leaves, green chilies, and sliced onion. For spices, I am using cinnamon stick, a few cardamom pods, and some cloves. I also have chili powder and turmeric. For a bit sweetness, I am using small piece of jaggery. You can use sugar if you prefer. I am adding about 3 teaspoons of raw curry powder for the rich authentic flavor. And finally I have about 1 teaspoon of coconut oil and salt to taste. Now I am going to lightly crush the cardamom, cinnamon and clove to release their aroma. Now I am adding coconut oil into the pan. Once the oil is hot, I am adding ginger and garlic paste. I forgot to show you this earlier. Today I am using store-bought one. If you notice, there is a little water in it. So just be careful when adding it to the hot oil. Next, I am adding crushed aromatic spices, the cardamom, cinnamon, and clove, along with the curry leaves, pandan leaves, sliced onion, and green chilies. Everything goes into the pan and already it smells amazing. While that's cooking, let's check on the rice. Now it's ready to add the coconut milk. As you can see, most of the water has been absorbed, but the rice is still cooking. Don't wait until the rice cooker switch to warm. This is the perfect time to add it. Now I am adding the coconut milk. Gently mix it through using a rice paddle or a stick. Always avoid using a metal spoon as it can break the rice grains. We want to keep the grains nice and whole. Now let the rice cooker continue cooking until it finish. Now let's go back to our pineapple curry. Now I am adding curry powder and chili powder. At this stage, it will roast together with the onions and start to change the color slightly. This helps to bring out the deeper flavor. Everything fry together until it develop a beautiful golden brown color. Now I am adding salt. You can always adjust the seasoning later by tasting as you go. As you can see, the color of the spices is starting to change nicely. I prefer a slightly darker color, but you can also use roasted curry powder if you want a deeper flavor. Today I am using regular curry powder. Now I am adding pineapple pieces and raw mango pieces. Mix everything well. Keep the heat on medium and let it cook gently. Now I am adding jaggery pieces. If you don't have jaggery, that's completely fine. You can add about 2 teaspoons of sugar instead. This curry has nice balance of flavors, slightly sour, little sweet and nicely spiced. So adding jaggery or sugar really helps to bring everything together and enhance the taste. Now let it cook slowly so the fruits become soft and absorb all the beautiful flavors. This will take a little bit of time. Now cover with the lid and let it cook slowly. You can add coconut milk if you prefer, but today I'm not adding it. I'm letting the curry cook its own natural juices. Also, if you don't add coconut milk, you can store this curry for a few days without any problem. If you'd like a bit more gravy, you can add a little water. At this stage, I am adding about half a cup of water so it can cook nicely and develop the good consistency. Now my pineapple and mango curry is ready. It's beautifully cooked and full of flavor. Next, let's move on to the dal curry. This is one of the main dishes of today's meal, so we want to make it really well. I have already washed and drained my dal. It's about 500 grams. I didn't measure actually, I just roughly prepared it. Now I am adding it into a pan. We are going to cook this in water first. So I am adding about 1 cup of water. Since we will be adding coconut milk later, there is no need to add too much water at this stage, just enough to cook the dal. Now I am adding sliced onion, curry leaves, green chilies and pandan leaves. I have kept a little bit of onion and curry leaves. I will show you later what I am going to do with it. For spices, I am keeping it simple. I am adding chili powder, turmeric and small piece of cinnamon. You can also add curry powder if you like, depending on your spice preference. Now I am adding about 2 teaspoons of salt. Dal has naturally rich and comforting flavors, so you don't need to add too many spices. Keeping it simple really brings out the best taste of the lentils. Give everything a good mix, cover it with the lid, and let it cook. Now it's time to check the dal. Give it a stir and see if the lentils are soft enough to move on to the next step. As you can see, most of the water has evaporated and the dal is partly cooked. This is perfect. Now I am adding the coconut milk. If you are using fresh coconut milk, that's great. But if you are using canned coconut milk, make sure to choose a good quality one. There are many brands in the market and some don't have strong coconut flavor. Always check the label and the coconut percentage. Some products contain a lot of additives and less actual coconut. I personally like using coconut milk powder as well because it gives us more consistent and rich flavor. Now the dal is nicely cooked, so let's move on to the final step, finishing the dish. In a separate pan, I am adding coconut oil. I always prefer coconut oil for dal. It gives a much better flavor compared to oil like olive oil. Now I am adding sliced onion, curry leaves and pandan leaves. I also have cut two dried chilies into small pieces. I will add those in at the end. The onions are now nicely fried, so I am adding the dried chili pieces and fry them briefly until they become slightly crispy. Now I am adding the cooked dal into the pan and mixing everything together. Look at that. It looks beautiful, rich and full of flavor. Now my dal curry is ready. Let's move on to the next step. Next, let's move on to the papadam and fried dried chilies. Here I have cut papadam into small pieces and these are my dried chilies. I have cut the tops so they are slightly open. This helps this salt soak in properly. I have soaked the chili in about half a cup of water with 3 teaspoons of salt for over an hour. This is a great method because the chilies absorb the salt and become less spicy when fried, making them easier to eat. Now I am going to cook them in a pan. I am adding the chilies along with the salt water into the pan. Let them cook until the water evaporates. Cook, you will notice the chilies start to change the color. That's exactly what we want. Now you can see the salt has crystallized and all the water has evaporated. Next, I am going to fry the chilies. Take a separate pan and add enough oil for frying. I am also use the same oil to fry the papadam later. Once the oil is hot, add the chilies carefully. Fry them until they become nice and crispy. You will notice they change color as they cook. As you can see, I have already cut the papadam into small pieces. After frying the chilies, we will use the same oil to fry the papadam until it become light and crispy. Now I am going to fry the papadam. You can change the oil if you prefer, but I am using the same oil. You might see a few chili seeds on the papadam, but that's completely fine. Keep the heat on medium low when frying the papadam. It cooks very quickly, only a few seconds. As soon as you add it, it will puff up and turn crispy. See, it's already ready. Make sure to keep the heat low, otherwise, it can burn quickly. Now I am preparing the garnish for the rice. I am adding about 2 tablespoons of ghee into a pan and then I am adding some sultanas. Today I am using roasted cashew, so that's no need to fry. I just add them into the ghee at the end and mix gently, otherwise, they can burn. I also have some fried onion ready in the fridge. So for the final garnish, I will top the rice with cashew, sultanas and fried onions. It adds a beautiful flavor and texture. Here is my full vegetarian meal. You definitely have to try this. Honestly, you won't even feel like you are eating vegetarian meal. It's too rich, flavorful, and satisfying. Everyone at the home absolutely loved it, and my family really enjoyed this meal. I highly recommend that trying something like this at least once a month. It's healthy, delicious, and full of amazing flavor. You won't even miss meat. Try this on the Vesak day or any day you like and let me know how it turns out for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe to my channel for more delicious recipes like this.